Okay, it's Roger again. Another sterling, wonderful day at Mud Fossil University. Carl Smith, good friend, sent me this today. Says it backs up his theory that the ancients did repairs. This is his theory, although I've taken it from hieroglyphs to show the much later Egyptians using this method. The fleece or rams were being used to create these blocks. So they found hair deep inside these structures. So he says, go look at 5 minutes and 9 seconds. I said, okay. So I go here and I jump into this video, which is by Matrix Wisdom from March 31st, 2019. Very nicely done. And I just popped in here and I ended up being here seeing these blocks, which I know very well. I know exactly what they are. Now, below that, this was interesting because I've never seen these pictures before, and as a matter of fact, I really haven't gone through this whole thing yet, but I'm starting to look into it and I know exactly what's going on. So I'm going to play it and we'll listen to what they have to say.
That are identical to those seen in Cusco, Peru. They consist of unusual shaped nodules protruding from them. It's been suggested by researchers that the
I didn't catch that beginning part here. Let's go back.
If constructed for a pharaoh, they would have never seen its completion. A ridiculous hypothesis. There are also a number of surface blocks that are identical to those seen in Cusco, Peru. They consist of unusual shaped nodules protruding from them. It's been suggested by researchers that the nodules may have been used to help move the stone blocks. However, archaeologists say that they would have had no known purpose in aiding the moving of the blocks.
All right, there's no sense to go much further here. I'm going to go into the hair thing because these are from raw flesh. Those little tabs are from tendon enthesis attachments. I'm going to show you the proof of this. And I'm going to show you how they cut these and how they moved them and how they quarried these and what they took them from. Before I do that, I'm going to go here and finish up where Carl was saying to look for the hair. Here it goes.
They have a lower density than any quarried stone. CAT scans of the stones show that there are hairs deeply embedded in the matrix of the stone.
All right, I contend, Carl says it could be from the rams, and it could be. I have no issue with that. However, any body part that's exposed has hair on it, virtually. So obviously there's going to be hair on all of these body parts that are embedded in these places. They just took slabs and chunks of flesh, and I'll prove it. I've been going on about this for years now, and this goes back to 2017, and this is about Giants High-Tech built ancient structures, and this is what I've been going on years before this. Now, and I'm going to go back to something. This is what annoys me. Hold on. I like these Matrix guys, this Matrix Wisdom. I haven't known about them. Carl got a hold of me, but listen to this. This is exactly correct. These guys are exactly on target. Now listen. They do a nice job, too.
Attempting to find good, reliable information pertaining to ancient sites and discovered artifacts can be somewhat time-consuming. However, there are researchers dedicated to providing the facts, no matter the consequences. Ultimately, most of the time we find relevant and detailed information quickly being crushed or even removed from existence across the World Wide Web. One of the world's biggest mysteries, even now, involves the Great Pyramid of Giza. This monumental construction is still the topic of much debate, especially surrounding its origins. There are
All right, I'm going to let you watch this if you want. I don't want to just go on about this guy's research, but my point being is that we're being dismissed. Nobody's looking at the things that have absolute, credible, undeniable evidence to support them. And I'm showing all this stuff to all of the people in Yale. Derek Briggs down at Yale has refused anything to do with anything from me whatsoever. And I have the mud fossils, the DNA, the CAT scans, and all that stuff. I find it very difficult to deal with someone in his position that takes this position of denying that has any biological origin, that is simply a rock. He says this is just dirt. Go find somebody who knows rocks. Now, how do you deal with people like that? And he is exactly correct. They are crushing truth. All right, so we're going to uncrush it. I'm sure I have a minimum of a half a dozen videos about this, these giants and so forth, and how they constructed these walls. And if you go up here, you see these huge walls in the background? This is what they used to construct them. They had high-tech equipment. That's a tractor, surveyor, cutter, slab cutter. And that went from there, and they took those slabs right off of there. And let me see and here's another place where they did it somewhere else in the world. And these are tendons. These are tendons from giant creatures. And they took, here's a place where they were going with another high-tech four-wheel vehicle. And these are the slabs that they were cutting and putting them back in those walls when they were wet like putty. You obviously know they were wet because they were cutting them when they were wet. And then I go on and on and on. And you know, all these walls, the same stuff. This is all mud fossil stuff, and they refuse to allow anything to talk about this. It's really disgraceful that they're taking money from all these students and not paying any attention to what is truly in our earth and we live in. And they have, these are all rock samples. They use the same, these are biological, but they're in the earth. They call them foliations of the earth. Anyway, I have so much evidence on this. It's embarrassing, really. And I shouldn't be the one that's embarrassed, because they should be embarrassed, and they will be embarrassed. Here's something else they won't take a look at. I have evidence that points to this same stuff. Well, what's all this about? Well, let me show you what I see in light. And that's another thing nobody will pay attention to. I've sent this to all the top universities, all the top physicists. You just saw those little showers of circles. Let me show you an exact single one. They come in red, they come in blue, they come in green. That's light. Does that look familiar? It's an identical pattern that they show in those rocks, and they come in showers, and the particle is in the center. That's Cherenkov radiation. These are Higgs fields, which are polarized particles showing up in a darkened room due to the fact that they are concussing with the stagnant air of the room at a high speed. They are accelerated. Light can accelerate very easily. And they create these Higgs fields. Now, they do this at CERN with heavy particles. We do it with light particles. But if you look at that other thing, that is the identical pattern that they have in those rocks. And they are all over the world. It's not just that one spot. They know a lot more than we give them credit for. CERN says that's what these electron showers look like. Exactly what I showed you. And apparently they understand it, but they don't know how to put the pieces together. And they say they can't see these. I just showed you what they are. CERN finds exactly the same particles, or I don't know if they found them or not, but they're looking for them. Exactly identical to what I showed, with the the boson charged particle carrier exciting the ocean of particles, which is in the air right around every little bit of us, slamming into it, showing up with those fields. And only in a darkened room, and only in a special way. Rodney was a master at getting these shots, absolute master. And the Venturi was here, and light in a Venturi crushes itself into each other's regions and particle realms. They explode out the other side in plasma.